Right, so it is recording. One more swim.
Okay.
Then we can just chop out the beginning part, right? Whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll edit it all out.
Cool.
Okay. Alright.
Alright, so how do you guys want to start?
Okay.
So urbanism is defined by culture, economic, politics, and social context. However, in those terms, there's a need to determine how culture, economics, and politics can define urbanism. And when we ask this question, we ask it over the last 100 years, considering that's when the urban context is founded, and we generally consider it in urban and how it defines society. So how does culture, economics, and politics define society?
Through my understanding and through my readings, I understood that culture, economics, and politics redefine society in a multitude of ways. There's no single answer, and from what we talked about in class, I'm pretty sure everyone has a certain way of answering it themselves. But in Bruno Latour's case, I feel that he brings about this idea of the mode of existence of habit and how that shapes our built environment. And anthropologically, that idea, it provides substance and subsistence to our existence. It also allows us to evolve from primitive or more mediocre ways of design to more new efficient innovations. And in terms of our authors, I feel that he has probably the most distinct correlation to Chris Anderson and the Makers, because Anderson brings about this idea of the open source of the internet and how that leads to a more contemporary form of development. And with habit, you see that this idea is present through that in the way that it gives it the ability to change, like the way that technology has changed and is constantly advancing. So that's...
Well, didn't Latour in your chapter go on to speak a little bit more in depth about religion and the role it plays in society, and the way that it's a good thing, you know, for people, but at the same time it kind of holds back society from being able to progress forward, not because of the beliefs themselves, but because of the differences in opinion, when in reality science is giving us facts that we can follow and that don't necessarily discount religion. So there's a way for religion and science to work together for us as a society to move forward and make changes, especially important changes when it comes to like climate change and and stuff like that. Is there any more you can hit on that? I mean, I know that was your chapter, so I'm sure you got quite a bit more information than I do about that.
Yeah, actually, to understand religion, I think there's an understanding of the development of science and the correlation to religion. Because for as long as religion has been around, if we're historically speaking about how that could define urbanism, is that religion has existed as a means of explaining things, at least according to Latour, which could be debated, but for the most part, for a lot of people, that's how they made sense of the world. Now, with science coming up, we find that a lot of religion is considered archaic or it's outdated, and a lot of people are having a harder time believing it. I mean, even recently, Pope Francis kind of came out to say that, hey, if we're going to advance as a religion, we need to make sure that we're up on the times. We need to make sure that we are teaching evolution. We need to accept science. We need to accept these as graces from God. So now that there's kind of this paradigm shift between religion and society, we also have to kind of understand at least its place that religion has had in our culture, that's had in our politics, that's currently having in society. I mean, if we even look to now, like just in our culture alone, there's about 3/4 of people, according to, I believe, I can't think of the source now. We can cut this part out, that's fine.
Well, it's okay, we can look it up.
Yeah, according to Politico, I believe actually, there's a source that says about 3/4 of Americans now believe that religion has started to lose its influence.
Right.
And there's more people switching over to atheism, or more people switching over to humanism, or some other religions that they can follow along with. About 112 parishes, according to the New York Daily News, have actually closed down in New York because there has been a shift in religion, because a lot less people are attending it for, other reasons as well. So if we kind of look at its place inside of society right now, we can see that religion has had an influence, but now it's having a hard time. And Latour sees this as a problem because he's saying that there's less, that's going to cause more conflict. Because now even religious people are trying to buy into politics, and they're trying to support candidates because they want people to get out of their religion and they want them to stop intruding it on them.
Well, wouldn't you say though it's kind of backfiring a little bit? I mean, especially in the past 8 years or so, because the conservative side has really lost a lot of power, and I know there's no set rule saying a liberal is not religious or an atheist and a conservative is religious, but at the same time, I mean, there's definitely a correlation there, right? And so it's actually, there's definitely some proof behind that with Democrats in power right now being, right there in your face, proof that it's kind of slipping. I mean, the religious movement really has lost a lot of power by like a landslide. I mean, really, liberals are they're just gaining so much power because people are kind of becoming much more open-minded and starting to vote liberal, even if they are religious, because they're starting to realize, hey, I believe in God, and I have my beliefs, but at the same time, I know science is factual and it can do the things it says because it has proof and it has everything needed to be real. But at the same time, that doesn't mean I have to stop believing in God, but I would rather, and I'm not saying me, but liberals would rather, or people that used to be conservative who are now liberal, would like to say, hey, I still believe in God, but at the same time, I want to save the environment, so I'm going to start voting for these people. Or I believe in equality, so I think it's okay for gay marriage. But I'm still going to go home and worship my God. I'm going to go to church on whatever day it is, Sunday for most people, and do that. But they're putting liberals in power who are, generally a little bit less religious of a group.
Well, while they are shifting, the power is shifting, definitely, and it's a good thing. I mean, at the same time, there's still people who do exist, though, who are religious. And if we kind of look at the writings of Robert Caro, and we kind of look at Robert Moses and his experience when they were building that road across Long Island, there was that power that was being held that allowed them to do it. But the only problem with that, and I think Latour would argue with his reason with Caro, why he would also be upset with Moses, is that it ignores the context of what currently exists. So religion is still existing. There's still people who practice religion today. And a lot of those people are facing the problem of, how do I stick to being a pure religious person and follow my text when they are outdated? And then they tend to lose that power, and they tend to lose that influence, and then people kind of start noticing the problems with it. So then that can cause problems.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I think I'm good on that.
No? What about any other topics that you came across during your parts?
Mine kind of dealt more with just the technologies that we see through the Maker, and more technological advances. And from my understanding, I went more on the side of the Maker rather than what we learned from Sanford Quinter. Sanford Quinter kind of feels that these ideas in technology and this progress and dependency on technology is kind of diminishing the quality of work that we have, that we create nowadays, instead of what we used to do. So I feel that habit plays a key role in that, because it kind of conditioned us to use technology as a tool and use it to simplify our life.
Right.
So I feel that it's a good thing, not really this thing that reduces the quality of our work.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I feel that habit also gives us the ability to recognize like these problems and inadequate mediums and kind of create like a better quality of life for us.
Yeah, so I know from my parts of the book, because well, for Latour, he takes a very interesting standpoint. So the entire idea behind modes of existence is to really come up with these different modes that people follow and identify them, and in doing so, come up with a system that allows, in an anthropological and a sociological way, to really take this big mass, this big melting pot of people in the urban environment and allow them to come to a consensus on very important issues. So he's really hitting upon these two subjects heavily, and many others. There's 13 modes?
13 modes right now.
So there's 13 modes of existence, and he's going to release a book soon based on those findings. Because what he did is he went online and he invited anybody that read the book to come online and either critique or support or even just add information and just put more data on there so that even more critiquing and more supporting can go on. And then he finds these intersections based on everything that's been on there, so that a huge group of people with a huge, vast array of different ideas can identify like these points where they come together, so that these points where everybody agrees on something. And using those points, he wants to come up with a system to progress any type of idea, whatever it is. The one he hits on as an example is global warming. A lot of people believe global warming is either fake or is